Hello everybody and welcome to another Tech Minute video. My name is Tom from 6 Foot Networks and thank you for joining me here in the office today. So many of you guys have seen this rack here before. This is my trusty bread rack that I've had for quite a few years actually now, and you can see that it does a sufficient job at holding equipment, but it doesn't really do anything to prevent it from falling over in the event of earthquake or otherwise. I have my Arlo box here. There's a Synology NAS over there, the wireless stuff. Here's the access point for the office and a few other things. And this is just a toolbox that's down here. But I feel the need to make a video about general labbing. If you find yourself in a situation where you want to study, say, the CCNP, if you want to take a Cisco certification or CCNA or any of the other ones, and you find yourself surrounded by an astronomical amount of gear, which you can see that there's quite a bit here in terms of, boxes filled with stuff, and there's a Cisco Catalyst switch that's clean back there. There's a Cisco Catalyst switch over here on my desk. There's a Netgear switch here. There's a Netgear switch up there. You get to the point where you're like, oh my God, it's insane. And what do I do? Well, introducing the rack. So this rack arrived yesterday. It was an Amazon purchase that I did. And as you can see, I've already started filling stuff out in it. And the reason it's kind of standing like this next to the old one is because I actually moved our production router at this point while it was online. So I literally mounted it just to get it going and try to get all this stuff in here into this rack. But I realized that I need some shelves and I need a few things to accommodate things like the Arlo base station and the Synology array. So why this? Okay, so this is a 20U rack, and I don't even know what brand it is. This was just a sub $200 rack that came off of Amazon. If you just type in $200 20U rack or 20U rack and then look for the one that's sub $200. I know the prices change pretty much regularly, but you'll find this one. It doesn't even really have a stamp or anything on it, which I like because I'm vendor neutral. I'd love to have sponsorships with companies, but thus far I haven't had any luck with any. So if I invest in products myself, I try to give neutral reviews as opposed to having a sample unit or something sent to me and then me evaluating it based on the fact that, hey, this was a freebie from them. I should probably do a more positive review. But I recently did a video on these two. This is my Raspberry Pi Kubernetes cluster that will soon be, also, it'll be installed in here, but I'll also have videos on it when the time comes. But this rack, like I said, I've only had this for about 20 hours, less than a day. It arrived yesterday. I unboxed it. I made sure all the pieces were here. And then earlier this morning, I assembled it. It took about 15 minutes or so to assemble. No instruction manual really necessary. In fact, I don't think this came with one even, but I'm sure you can download it from a website or something. And it came with all the nuts and screws to hold stuff in. And that's actually where, this little toolbox comes from. I took the nuts and bolts for the rails and I put them in here so I wouldn't lose them. And as I make a mess, recycling, that's where those are. Anyway, going back to this, I feel like this has been long overdue. I'm all about bread racks. They're modular and you can add shelves to them like this one here. I get a lot of these these little boxes. I think I got 60 of these for like $20 and they fit great like 3 to a tier. I know it's out of sight, but they for example, you know, they kind of fit in here however you need them to, and they're really modular. And the same goes with the one that's back here that I just upstaged with this rack, but maybe that's a little bit better. So I've had issues with this rack kind of, this bread rack over here kind of ballooning with regards to gear. More and more stuff as time went on, and cabling management became a nightmare. In fact, it is a nightmare because I'm looking at it and I really want to just rip it all out. Get a patch panel, really do cabling nicely and make this look, you know, professional. Now, if you're wondering why there are so many company stickers on this, it's because I've covered up information that's behind them more so. Actually, this one is a sticker. This one's been there for a while, but that is just a magnet. And these two are servers, so I'm covering up information that at some point will be put in a database and removed, but IP addressing, host name, stuff like that. So I covered that up, but I'm not, you know, crazy about putting our logo on everything, but that's kind of what it looks like. Anyway, going back to this, I feel like 20 U's is plenty for what we have going on here. There's going to be a rack mount UPS that's going on the bottom here. Let me tilt this down a little bit. So on the bottom here, we're going to invest in a 1500 kVA UPS. Again, not brand specific, whoever's cheaper. It will go in here because a UPS is a UPS. It's kind of an expendable too. It's a very expensive expendable because in 2 or 3 years you have to replace batteries, and sometimes the whole unit fails, especially if you have a lot of drops of power and the unit gets worn over time. But these rails are really solid. I really like them, and like I said, the nuts and the screws that come with them are pretty solid. They're really nice colored, you know, silver colored. I think they might actually be just bare aluminum, but they work really well. I find that the painted, color matched screws and cage nuts tend to wear down, and then they end up silver anyway, so I'm kind of happy that these are just silver out the door. Although I do use anything, like I said, whatever comes in, as long as it holds it, I'm fine with it. So to sum up, I'm going to get some shelves to organize some of this stuff. That Synology desktop box that you can kind of see right here, that is going to be probably replaced with a rack mount at some point. But I did put up a video yesterday on my 30-day experience with OpenDrive. If you haven't watched that, you should really watch it. It's literally the next video down. The reason for that is because I was looking for an alternative to not have to replace this every 3 years or so, because I run out of space. And if you know anything about storage, especially in current times where supply is generally low and demand is generally high, those things get expensive. You can get a 8 terabyte storage array for $1,000, whereas before, I think that's an 8 terabyte storage array. I got it for $600. So it's crazy, but I'm thinking about replacing that with a rack mount, smaller one, maybe same size. In fact, maybe I'll even just keep the drives and get a bare bone one, but suffice it to say that it'll take up a lot less space in here, and then I can manage everything else. In fact, they make rack mount units for Mac Pros, so I was thinking about getting that. If not, just put it on a shelf. But you can see how getting a lab in order ultimately helps you in the long run, because you get a lot of stuff and then you're like, oh my God, I don't know what's going on here. Cables, crazy, or you have issues and you have to troubleshoot it. You spend half the day troubleshooting an issue that could have been avoided by using a rack to begin with, like cable management or power management or anything from PoE to, you know, data issues that happen when you're using a setup like this. Also, it just doesn't look very appealing. I think the room appeal goes up by 1,000% if you look at this versus, you know, something like this. This will at some point have a wall of some kind here, so it's not going to be an issue, but the rest of this stuff I want it to look nice. And you know, this will be literally right here against the wall. People walk in, ooh, nice, you know. And I think on top of this I'll put our little brother printer, that laser printer that we have, will go on top of that, and it'll be great and gravy. Anyway, if you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you really enjoyed this video, which I hope you did, you'll consider subscribing to our channel. It really does help us out, and it allows us to create more content like this for you. In the meantime, I guess good luck with everything, and take it easy. If you need anything, please reach out to us down below in the comments. Take care. Thank you for watching.